Good morning, Southside. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mathew Ellis. I have been coming to this church 1 year this February. I have been saved for 11 years. Prior to my salvation, I grew up in the Catholic Church. I grew up with the Catholic faith and the Catholic doctrine. And we do rely heavily on the Bible, the King James Version. So I had the full understanding of the Bible and the understanding of Christ's existence, his deity, his death, his resurrection from the grave, and the fact that he is our Savior, our Messiah. But even with all that knowledge and with all the understanding that I had growing up, I was not a practicing Christian and I did not live a Christian life. I did not ever accept Jesus prior to my salvation as my Savior, nor did I ask for forgiveness. I believed that I was good and I would be good and I would get to heaven. It wasn't until about 13 years ago when I started going to the Baptist church that I realized that not only was I a sinner, but sitting there and looking at the 10 Commandments, I had violated every one of them, whether I did it physically or I did it in my heart. And that's what started my journey. What brought me to break my knees and ask the Lord to come live with me was I spent 2 years trying to get clean before I would go to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. And it wasn't until I read this book on the disciples and I realized that there were a lot of people who were flawed. And you go to Christ flawed and he fixes the flawed. You don't try to fix your flaws before you go to Christ. And that's what happened. I read this book on the disciples and I read about Peter. Peter was the one that stood out to me the most. He denied Christ. He um, was, scared of being associated with him. And then after Christ's resurrection, here's a man that asked for forgiveness, that, led a really great life, a warrior for Christ, crucified for Christ. And no man would do that for something that wasn't a lie or that was untrue. So for me, I had to break my knees that day and ask the Lord to forgive me and save me. Since then, I can tell you that not only have I cleaned up my act, am I a better person? Not only am I happier to be around, but I'm a better father and I'm a better husband. And I try to do as much as I possibly can every day for the Lord.